Hi, everyone. This is Patrice Davis from GrantsWorks, CEO of GrantsWorks and host of Federal Grants Explained. So something has happened today that I just wanted to make sure I covered for you guys because it's very similar to the video that I just released 1 or 2 days ago. So it's already come out today that Harvard University will not comply with the demands from the Trump administration. Just to give you a brief background, Harvard University and 59 other universities around the country, Brown University, Cornell, Princeton, we know about what happened. Many of you may have heard of what happened at Cornell University, University of Pittsburgh, I believe, University of Pennsylvania, quite a few state universities as well. Basically have been told that they are under investigation by the U.S. Department of Education. Several have actually received letters, and those letters are basically saying these are the changes you must make with your organization in order to continue to receive federal grants and federal contracts. Harvard University has come out today. As you can see, this is the Harvard Gazette. It was released on April 14th, which of course is today, the day that I'm recording this. And basically this said that the changes that are pushed by the government are unmoored from the law. In other words, they don't connect, they don't make sense, they don't connect with the actual law. And so the university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its rights. So basically, here is the letter that was sent to Harvard University by, the U.S. Department of Education, and then it's sort of co-signed, if you want to call it that, by, dropping the U.S. General Services Administration logo and the logo from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. It's addressed to Harvard University's president, Dr. Alan M. Garber, and Penny Pritzker, who is the lead member of the Harvard Corporation. Anyway, long story short, they start these letters off, as I've shared with you guys in a previous video. I've seen the letters where federal agencies are communicating some kind of non-compliance that they have found. They do not have this tone. This tone, I'm going to read this to you. The United States has invested in Harvard University's operations because of the value to the country of scholarly discovery and academic excellence. But an investment is not an entitlement. Like, I've never heard language like that. It depends on Harvard upholding federal civil rights laws, and it only makes sense if Harvard fosters the same kind of environment that produces intellectual creativity and scholarly rigor, both of which are antithetical to ideological capture. Again, and I'm not saying I've seen all letters that are sent from a federal agency to a federal grantee, basically highlighting, some of their non-compliance that they need to, they need to self-correct, and that they need to document their corrections and document their, ability to come into compliance. But again, I've never seen letters, worded like this. But more important are the things that the government is asking Harvard to do. They need to make government and governance and leadership reforms, merit-based hiring reform, according to them, merit-based admissions reform, international admissions reform, viewpoint diversity in admissions and hiring, reforming programs with egregious records of anti-Semitism and other bias, discontinuation of DEI, student discipline reform and accountability. What else are they asking them? Whistleblower reporting and protections. I want to pause here and let you know that when it comes to U.S. government grants, federal grants, there is a requirement that the grantee have a whistleblower system in place, right? But that's typically to make sure that your staff or subrecipients or other people can actually report on actual, suspicion of fraud, waste, and abuse. This is basically saying that Harvard needs to make sure it has a whistleblower system in place to report non-compliance with the reforms in the letter. In other words, they aren't just saying you have to make these changes. We want you to institute a whistleblower program to make sure that you actually have some people on, a system in place, a phone call, some kind of website where people can report these things anonymously. In other words, we want you to set up a system to monitor yourself. And that, again, that's definitely required for fraud, waste, and abuse of federal funds, but I've never seen it used for this before. And then, of course, transparency and monitoring. Harvard's response that was sent today, just one business day after the letter sent from U.S. Department of Education, April 11th, Harvard's response immediately was Hey, actually, I want to make sure I point out it is on their attorney's letterhead. King and Spalding is a large legal firm in the U.S. I'm familiar with them. Quinn Emanuel, trial lawyers, and they're basically saying, "Hey, we represent Harvard University. We're responding to your letter that you sent to Harvard's president and to the senior fellow of the Harvard Corporation. Hey, we are committed to fighting anti-Semitism and other forms of bigotry in this community." And to that end, we have made and will continue to make lasting and robust structural policy and programmatic changes to ensure the university is a welcoming and supportive learning environment for all students and continues to abide in all respects with federal law, right? Now, it goes on to basically say, um, the university will not surrender its independence or relinquish its constitutional rights. Neither Harvard nor any other private university can allow itself to be taken over by the federal government. Accordingly, Harvard will not accept the government's terms as an agreement in principle. Harvard remains open to dialogue about what the university has done and is planning to do to improve the experience of every member of its community. But Harvard is not prepared to agree to demands that go beyond the lawful authority of this or any administration. So, and you see it signed by their attorneys. So I do want you all to understand that this is really a big deal. I think, as a matter of fact, as of the time that I'm recording this, the federal government's already gone and canceled about $2 billion in federal funding from Harvard. So that's federal contracts and federal grants. $2 billion. But I do want to point out that basically Harvard is standing up not just for itself, but for other universities. And they do this because of what happened at Columbia University. If you're wondering what happened at Columbia, check out my video, University Grants at Risk. I say Columbia's $400 million grant cut, federal funding crisis, and 60 universities under fire. So you can go and check out, you see it's 47 minutes long, where I basically describe what happened at Columbia. And then I also lay out what happened at other universities, what has been happening in other universities. Other universities' funding have been threatened. Cornell, $1 billion in federal funding has been threatened. Brown University, I believe, 200 and something million dollars. University of Pennsylvania, a ton of universities have, basically they're under a watch list and or have received correspondence from the federal government saying you must make these changes or we're going to take your money away. And so the fact that Harvard did this and did this swiftly is a big deal. One other university that I expect to probably send out something very similar to this is Princeton University. As I was preparing for this video, that's when I learned that Princeton University's president basically had a similar response, but it wasn't like an official response from their legal representatives. But basically, they said that they're going to follow the laws. I also in this video talked quite a bit about what's happening with the entire state of Maine, where the government, because of the tiff between the federal government, between the current president and Maine's governor, that different awarding agencies have been canceling grants from Maine universities, Maine state government agencies. They're even going after the Maine Principals Association. Yes, the principals of high schools. There's a principal association, and they've actually been going after them as well. So just a lot has been going on. If you guys aren't aware, now you are, and you can watch a video that's going to break all of this down for you. I'm a federal grant, consultant, a federal grant authority. I train about federal grants, so this is something that I know quite a bit about. So hopefully you'll check it out. Tell me what you guys think about what Harvard is doing. I'd appreciate your feedback. So hope you guys found this interesting.